Former nursery worker Vincent Chan has been jailed for 18 years. The 45-year-old pleaded guilty to 56 charges, including offences carried out against children in his care. Vincent Chan was arrested back in 2024 after a colleague at Bright Horizons Nursery in Finchley Road, West Hampstead, raised concerns about his behaviour.
So same time of arrest, that's 10 to 8. You don't have to say anything, may help me defend if you do not mention when questioned, something which later on in court and TDC may be given evidence.
He'd been filming children using a work-issued iPad, adding effects and music for supposedly comedic value before sharing the content with colleagues. Police initially arrested him on suspicion of child cruelty and seized dozens of devices from his home and the nursery, discovering extensive evidence of him sexually abusing children. Officers contacted more than 700 families of children who attended nursery during Chan's employment. Some of the parents were told their children had been identified in the footage, but many others will never definitively know if Chan targeted their child. I spoke to one of the families dealing with the prospect of never knowing the truth. Their account has been anonymised.
I mean, your mind goes everywhere, like what could have happened? Did I miss any signs? Thinking that could have happened to your child is just absolutely horrible. I remember that he would even refuse to walk when we got near to the nursery building. He would just stop and we would have to kind of pick him up and carry him screaming and kicking inside. Or he would just cling to your leg when you entered the room, and then you'd have to literally peel him off and then hand him to a member of staff because he didn't want to be let go. During that period, we saw him turn inward more. He stopped playing with friends. You could tell as a parent, something's not right, but we couldn't put our finger on it.
I think that's what's causing me nightmares now, because we handed him over to somewhere where a child molester was committing crimes. And that, I think, is a guilt that I'll carry forever. Now we're really trying to work with him to rebuild his confidence. He was always such a confident little boy. And then now you can see it takes him a lot of effort to make new friends, to be comfortable around adults.
A group of around 50 affected families are now launching legal action against Bright Horizons, which currently operates more than 300 nurseries across the UK.
Although, Chan is now serving a very lengthy sentence of imprisonment, they feel that accountability doesn't just stop here with this one man for the things of which he's been convicted. There are many other concerns they have, both about his wider treatment of children at the nursery and also about the nursery itself. The failures of safeguarding which they see allowed this man to continue working with children, continuing behaving inappropriately towards children, and they wish to see accountability for that, both against the provider and also more widely to make sure this can never happen again to any other child or family. They really want, first and foremost, an investigation into potential corporate criminal responsibility, because this man did not operate in a vacuum. He was at this nursery for almost 7 years. He appears to have had an obsessive interest in women and girls that predated that. Families are really concerned how he was able to get a job at a nursery, stay working in a nursery for so long, behave in concerning ways towards children, record images of their children on the nursery's devices. And they think that all of that needs to be investigated by the local authority, who they believe has the responsibility to look at enforcement action.
In December last year, Chan pleaded guilty to 26 charges relating to his time at Bright Horizons Nursery. In January, he admitted further child sexual offences relating to a time when he worked at a North London school prior to 2017.
Why did you place cameras in your house? And what exactly did you use? What devices did you use to do that? How did you place the cameras? Let's focus first in your bathroom. How did you place them there? What about in your living room? And in the bedroom, how did you place a camera there? When did you place them? Why did you place them? What was your intention? How do you feel about the videos I've told you so far? Do you recall those videos?
Police say he infiltrated environments that should have been safe havens for children, exploiting the trust of families to conceal his actions and prey on the most vulnerable. Detective Superintendent Lewis Basford, who led the police investigation, told me Chan is one of the most heinous individuals they've ever come across.
So we've over 300 hours of viewing, looking at, as you quite rightly say, distressing images created by him or downloaded by him. He had an absolute array of material, and I pay testament to the officers that have to do that day in, day out to bring about these successful prosecutions. The significance of those images on an individual and how to view them and how to grade them and really so we have a true reflection of his offending is significant, and certainly internally my thanks goes to happening to them. The biggest and significant takeaway from this investigation in that whilst we have charged him with a number of offences and we have been able to go to those individuals and to those families and have direct conversations and explain what we found, it's the significant hundreds upon hundreds of families from both going through the primary school setting and also Bright Horizons Nursery, where we've been unable to find information, we've been unable to find evidence of their child being a victim, and whilst positive, creates an unknown to them. And I appreciate that leaves significant scars and hurt, not knowing. We have undertaken letters at relevant points from different charging points to the milestones that we have today to try and keep the cohort of families over 1,000 across the two educational settings. It has been hard. I hope we've been able to keep people up to date, but I also appreciate that when there are so many victims, because they are victims in their own right, not criminally today, but victims that they will live with this for the rest of their lives. At no point has he ever come forward and ever actually explained the reasons why he has put himself in the educational settings that he did and the offending that he's done. Yes, he has gone guilty at the earliest opportunity, but that is because of the overwhelming evidence that was put before him. And a reminder that when he was originally arrested, he refused to provide passcodes and passwords to the devices which were key to proving the offences that he's been found guilty of.
The government is now considering new regulations across the early years sector, including making CCTV compulsory in all nurseries. The MP for Hampstead and Highgate, Tulip Siddique, whose constituency Bright Horizons Nursery was in, has told me why she is spearheading the campaign.
I want to make it a safeguarding tool so that we make sure children are protected in the future, and so that Vincent Chan, what he did to so many families and so many young children in my constituency, never happens again, and that parents don't have to go through the trauma and the nightmare that they're living right now. It's hard to say when change will come in, and I don't want to promise something to the parents because I know this means a lot to parents. The parents that I'm speaking to, their lives have been completely turned upside down. I mean, 1 minute, these parents were leading normal, happy lives, the usual struggles with children. The next minute, they have a call from the police saying that your child was sexually abused in a place whether you trusted they were being looked after.
Jonathan in Waltham Forest has called. Hello, Jonathan. You were quick to call us. Hello.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely shocked, but not surprised at how weak this sentence is. This is beyond ridiculous. 18 years for what he did. 18 years. So in 18 years, these children will be in their early 20s. They'll probably bump into one of us. This is not a sentence. This is an extremely cowardly sentence by this country. In the United States, the country we all seem to admire so much, there are people in their teens who are getting 60 and 70-year sentences. This is absolutely ridiculous. 18 years for what he did.
I know.
We are so enamoured of our own reflection in this country. We think they're so together that, yes, we've abolished the death sentence. The death penalty many years ago, but this man has in some respects murdered more than 46 children. 18 years.
But he hasn't murdered them. You mean he's...
No, he hasn't murdered them, but he has ruined the lives of a sea of young children, babies.
He's desperately serious crimes. And also what I was saying a moment ago about the other types of sexual offending that we see and how we should never treat it lightly. His victims ranged from 2 years old to 70 years old. He sexually assaulted a 70-year-old woman as well.
Right.
So this man is just a narcissistic sadist, clearly.
We don't have a system that really addresses these Category A or Category 1 offenders. We don't have it. It's not in place. 18 years is not a sentence. He got away with it.
Do you think it's because he didn't kill?
Yes. We have, for instance, we talk about life sentence. What a load of nonsense. People do 14 years as a life sentence. In the United States, they do 50 or 60 or 70 years. You don't come out of prison. Over here, in a couple of years' time, you're sitting down negotiating your unemployment benefits in a couple of years. We are weak. That's what we've become, and we don't accept it. We are cowards.
Well, LBC has been told by the CPS that he's eligible for parole after 12 years.
There you go. Imagine. In other words, he got away with it. Let's keep our language simple. He got away with it.
When you think of the harm, I know. When you think of the harm to those children.
Yeah, he got away with it. 18 years.
1,204 Category A still images, so the most serious abuse of children happening in those images. Same number, Category B still images. 23,000, over 23,000 Category C still images. And the categories are all children being abused in some way.
Yeah.
280 Category A moving images of children being abused, so the most serious. 83 Category B moving images, 24 Category C moving images. I mean, it's just terrifying. And if you know what, if you also, I'm thinking of anyone who runs a nursery now, I would love to hear from you, because this must be, if I'm sure the vast majority are good people trying to deliver good nursery care. And for those that are, this must be horrific to read about and to witness. It's horrific for anyone. But if you're in that line of work and people trust you with their children. I mean, when my nieces and nephews and friends' kids were younger, I had a rule that I would only take them swimming one at a time, because I had a horror of ever bringing harm to any of those kids, or failing to protect them in an instance. And I just didn't want to be in charge of two kids in a swimming pool at the same time.
I see,
Because, and so if you run a nursery, the trust that's being placed in your hands is massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah.
They must be feeling that very deeply, those good nurseries.
But it's also this country, that we have a problem here in this country when it comes to sentencing. We really do. We do not believe in punishment. It's not rehabilitation, It's not about therapy, it's about punishment. We don't believe in it in this country, and that's what's causing the problem. Why don't you go to prison for many years? We're not here to rehabilitate you. You're here to be punished.
Do you believe in evil?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
I absolutely do.
And I think we need to get more comfortable with the idea of evil existing.
And that's what we've removed from our system, our very civilized system. As much as we criticize the Russians and the Americans and the Chinese, they know what a prison is.
Yeah,
they know how to punish you.
But Jonathan, it's the people they put in the prison that's the problem.
Well, that's another story, but they do punish people.
Yeah.